come to order. There's a quorum present. We're all here with the exception of Commissioner Dickey, who's out of the country. All legal notices have been duly posted and the court is duly called. Is a motion to open court?
Second.
All those in favor? Available, please open court.
All rise. Dallas County Commissioners Court is now in session for the May 2012 term. The Honorable Judge Jenkins presiding. Please remain standing.
Invocation today will be given by a guest of Commissioner Cantrell.
Judge and Commissioners, my pleasure today to introduce Pastor David Rogers. He serves Jesus Christ as senior pastor at Town North Presbyterian Church in Richardson, Texas, which belongs to the Presbyterian Church in America denomination. David has been at Town North since 2010. And prior to that, he was a pastor at Cape Coral, Florida for 4 years, and a church planter in Indiana for 7 years. He received a Master of Divinity degree from Covenant Theological Seminary and a Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communications from the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Prior to being pastor, David was a graphic designer at WITI TV6 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for 8 years. He's been married to his wife Kelly for 21 years and has 5 children. The oldest is at Belhaven University in Jackson, Mississippi, and the youngest is in the 2nd grade. Bless you, Pastor.
Go Brewers.
Yeah, that's right. Your Honor, let's pray. Blessed are you, O Lord, our God. Yours, O God, is the greatness, the power, and the glory, and majesty, and splendor. For everything in heaven and on earth is yours. Yours, O Lord, is the kingdom. You are exalted over all. Wealth and honor come from you. You're the ruler of all things, and the government of the world is on the shoulders of your appointed King, Jesus. You're the one who puts leaders in place, and you're the one who removes them. Lord, you tell us that these county leaders get their authority from you. They're appointed by you as your agents in this world to do good for our society. They're your agents to bring truth and justice to our county. Give them and all who advise them wisdom for their calling, calmness in the face of storms, encouragement in the face of frustration, and humility in the face of success. Give them the wisdom to know and do what's right and the courage to say no to all that's contrary to your statutes of holy law. Now, O Lord, we dedicate this meeting to you. We humble ourselves before you and acknowledge that you alone are Lord and our Savior and our Redeemer. We pray this in the name of the Father and the Son, Jesus Christ, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Welcome to this meeting of the Dallas County Commissioners Court. We'll consider items on our official agenda. We'll recess for our formal work session. And then we'll hear from two registered speakers. We'll convene in closed session to consider items as allowed by law. We've got 2 resolutions today, and the first is from Commissioner Rice.
Judge, Commissioners, this morning, we're very pleased to have with us Brenda Johnson. So I'll ask Brenda Johnson and the CSCD family to come forward. Whereas Dallas County Commissioners Court takes special notice where an individual has given long and faithful service to Dallas County, whereas Brenda Johnson was born in Gilmer, Texas, attended Kilgore Junior College, was a member of the Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, where Dr. Carrie B. Wesley is a pastor, and whereas Brenda has 1 child, Brittany Nicole Johnson. She enjoys spending time with her immediate family members, playing computer games, and watching crime shows. Whereas Brenda was able to return to work after having brain surgery. And she anticipates the college graduation of her one and only child, Brittany. And whereas Brenda began her Dallas County career on March 16, 1987 in the Community Supervision and Corrections Department, as a clerk too. And whereas on November 16, 1989, Brenda promoted to probation technician, where she currently serves and has had previous responsibilities. And whereas Brenda has served Dallas County continuously and diligently for over 25 years, now therefore be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and extend sincere appreciation to Brenda Johnson for 25 years of faithful service and further expresses best wishes for her continued success in her future years of service to Dallas County, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Before Ms. Johnson, Dr. Miller, you want to
Well, I'm extremely proud. Anytime an employee is able, wanting, and willing to dedicate 25 years of service to this community and to the community corrections supervision department, I'm ecstatic. So I want to thank you very much, Brenda. I'm hoping for many more years, but that's your choice.
Ms. Johnson, comments?
You want to get a picture?
Well, let me just say this. As chairman of civil service, and with two of my colleagues here, and having heard cases over the last 25 years, I want to applaud you one step further. Because there are people who at least presume to be able-bodied, and time and attendance is a real challenge. Whether or not they even want to come to work, much less whether or not they perform after they get here, that's another story. But we have the occasion to hear a lot of cases, and the fact that you had your surgery, you could have basically said at that time, I'm going to check it out in Dallas County, but you didn't. You returned. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the citizens of Dallas County. Thank you for allowing us to hold you up as a model of what employees should be about. And the fact that you don't have anything to say after 25 years.
Well, I'm a big sister, and I say I'm real proud of her, and thank you for appreciating her.
Thank you so much for your service to us. Did somebody have a camera? There we go. Got a camera? Oh, y'all come on, take a picture. Right? Anything I can get, like throw a dart at the judge, I'm
We're proud of you. We want to get a picture.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Come on the road, ladies. This way, Dr. Lewis. You know the route. I'm going to get you Dr. Lewis.
Everybody ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you. And last resolution is will Christina Hancock and those who have please come forward.
If you want to leave.
think I would remember.
He doesn't forget much.
And this is a remarkable story and remarkable achievement by one of our citizens, and I wanted to recognize that and give him an opportunity to say a few words. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas on a mission trip with her older son Christopher and several Dallas County students in 2010, Christina Adcock traveled to Etiku, Ghana, forgive me if I butchered Etiku's name, and saw that healthcare in this region of 125,000 people was completely non-existent. During that trip, Christina instantly decided that she would commit her time and resources to build a hospital that would provide much-needed medical assistance to this underserved area, and whereas with the support of a local ministry guiding the on-the-ground efforts at Etiku, Christina returned home to garner support from North Texas organizations, businesses, and individuals who believed in her cause. And whereas on March 2011, the Christina Adcock and Sons Christian Hospital opens its doors as another group of missionary students from Dallas County, including Christina's younger son Garrett, came back to assist the medical staff with the first patients to receive treatment at the 35-bed, 45,000 square foot facility. The hospital is the only one within a 2-hour driving distance and provides family practice, obstetrics, gynecology, pediatrics, vision care, surgery, and dentistry. The hospital also provides ambulance and pharmacy service, and whereas under the direction of CEO Ken Daisy and Director Lawrence Maduro, the hospital has already seen 15,000 patients in the first 15 months of operation. And whereas Christina Adcock has collaborated with the following organizations to acquire donated goods and services to ensure the hospital continues to meet expectations. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Clinic, the Children's Medical Center, Baylor Medical Center, All-Star X-Ray, LinkX, Dean and Lyons, the Keith Staubus family, the Bill Cottrill family, Status Motorsports LLC, and of course, the Christina Adcock Family Foundation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court is hereby salute that Christina Adcock and Sons Christian Hospital as an outstanding example of local, regional, and international collaboration, of goodwill and service to those who need it most. And I so move. All those in favor?
Aye.
I just wanted to take 1 second real quick, and Commissioner Price, you already recognized Garrett, her younger son back there. He was one of our Heisman finalists from Dallas Christian School. Just want you to know he just graduated May 19th as a valedictorian, and he will be entering the University of New Mexico as a offensive lineman center, right? Yeah, so we want to congratulate him as well. But it just goes to show what a jewel family like this can do, and that Dallas County doesn't just reach 26 cities, it reaches other countries. So I'll let them take it from here.
Your Honor, thank you for the opportunity to come today and visit with y'all again in Commissioner's Court. Just thank you for the honor. I cannot tell you what this mission has meant to me, to be able to go to Ghana and the citizens of Etiku. I have several people here today that one would like to speak, and that is our village leader and Pastor Lawrence Orduro. He and his family are here from Etiku now, and they're very excited about the future of the village of Etiku with our help. It's not just within, like you said, the county of Dallas. This is a global humanitarian effort, and I'm very proud and honored to be a part of it. So I'm going to introduce just a few people, and then I'm going to let Lawrence speak. Here I have Joyce Tapley, and she is the CEO of the MLK Clinic, and I'm very proud and honored to have her with me. She has been instrumental in helping, and we look forward to a great partnership with that. And in the back I have Bill Kittrell. He and his wife Ann were responsible for getting a lot of our equipment over to Ghana, which was a feat in itself to get our hospital equipment donated here and shipped by ship to the ports in Ghana. So that was a major accomplishment. I'd like a round of applause for him because he and his wife have worked. I'd like to introduce Frederick. He is a student from Etiku, the village of Etiku. Atiku. I have 2 students that have been brought over from Atiku through the Christina Adcock Family Foundation that attend Dallas Christian School. They are top students, they've been honored, they play soccer, and they're doing an amazing job, and we look forward to seeing what Frederick and Lawrence's son Jack do in the future for our community as well as going back to the Atiku community. So, thank you for We have Lawrence Orduro and his wife Patience, who are here from Atiku and are celebrating their 18th wedding anniversary today, so we're very excited for that. Lawrence now, thank you so much and God bless all of you.
I want to use this opportunity to thank our Christian Adcock family in Dallas County for producing such a wonderful lady to be a blessing not only to his country but to international community, especially a village in nowhere in the corner of Ghana, Western region, where people are in down need of help. We thank her family, and we thank everybody who have contributed in kind, in cash, towards our hospital. It's our hope that that hospital will grow to a teaching hospital to save a lot of mankind. Thank you.
Thank you. We've said to this family before, as you presented before this court, thank you, and I think Pastor said it best. We're very fortunate we produced a family such as yours. And it didn't appear that it stopped just with you. Apparently it's in the DNA and the lineage passes on. So thank you very much for what you do for this community and the kind of ambassadorship that this provides. You've assembled some partners, and one of them is here this morning. Children is here. As you know, the children family, Montoya and all of them. I don't know if you, like a leader, if you know the children family, I'd ask them to stand up there. It's Children's Hospital, and they're all part of it. Assembling this collaboration. As such, come on forward.
And Garrett, while you're coming forward, always wear your knee protection. Running down, call your mom.
Her older son, Christopher, valedictorian as well, yes. Just such an incredible family.
Give her all three of my sisters.
14-year-old daughter who could use being in your orbit.
Jay, as a coach, you know at this school, right?
My son is going to Mexico with beer in the fall.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, give a shot for that. Motion on the consent agenda. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We'll now consider the quarter before we do, are there modifications, anything we get to go with?
We should be good.
Because I've got a substitute contract that I completed, that's other than
There's
that.
no substitute on the order. Okay. So I'll take a motion on quarters 1 through 42.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Judge, let me just say a couple of things, and I'm going to take a point of personal privilege to deal with Mr. Thompson. There's Dr. Perkins here as well, Bishop. You come on forward. While he's coming, put order number 15 as the family just said, I really appreciate children's and what they've done with regards to this refi. I think it shows that you're very concerned about this entire community. And so I want to thank the officers there as well as all the collaborative regards to that. And give our best to Mr. Burbidge and all of that. So thank you very much for being a part of this whole collaboration.
And of course, for the great job that Children's Medicine does for our community, one of the best children's hospitals in the nation. Not to mention that one of the best technologically advanced kind of service. So thank you for that, very too happy.
And we're still working on that 11-15.
Well.
We're all still in there together. So
That's going to be hard to include too.
Guys in charge of CMS and Master Retirement.
Okay, let's go to the story. Thank you. Judge, on Saturday, we had a stockpile, what we call bioterrorism exercise, Operation Wildcat at Woodrow Wilson. The grant under which we go through this exercise requires Dallas County to basically stand up at any moment's notice about 50 pods throughout this county, a real undertaking. And so we get time. We get time with having to set up these pods. We get time with having to be able to provide what we call challenges into the process. And even though the department and as chairman of public health, I was in an observation position. These volunteers under the Medical Reserve Corps are volunteers that we depend on in the event of a bioterrorism event. This was only the second one on a mass scale that we have conducted. In fact, I think we kind of lead the state. The state was here on Saturday and they filmed it as a teaching instrument for some of the rest of the state. We were also charged not only with setting that up time, and I want to thank the Sheriff's Department and all of the others who helped us do that. We also charged with having to see about 500 individuals per hour.
Mr. Tank.
A real undertaking. And so I just want to thank Mr. Thompson, Dr. Perkins, and all their staff. They were there Saturday, and I was there for the 2 hours. Anything you want to add, Mr. Thompson, with regards to that exercise? And needless to say, we're going to be performing another one in the very, very near future because, ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is we cannot set up 50 pods around this county in the kind of time that we're challenging. So we're going to adjust and talk about super pods. We're going to be talking about closed pods. We're going to challenge businesses to put in what we call closed pods, and they create pods within those business silos. So there's a number of things we've got to try to churn. All of these white powder instances lately, they've all been false, and we're glad for that. But it doesn't take but one episode. And one episode will change all of the dynamics of how we have to perform in Dallas County. So, Mr. Thompson.
Judge, Commissioner Price has laid out that process. The only thing I would add is, again, the great partnership we have with the ISDs. We were fortunate enough to have, you see a number of MOUs, memorandums of understanding with our ISDs. We were able to demonstrate why those MOUs are so important. We have an MOU with the Dallas Independent School District, which allows us to use their facilities in the event that we need to do mass dispensing of medication. We also test our overall process, our communication ability, from our ability to use ham radios, any type of communication, including our satellite system was used as well. So a lot of things that we put in place in terms of those mock exercises are real life events. As Commissioner Price pointed out, we did the largest strategic national stockpile dispensing exercise at Reunion Arena. From that, we identified that we needed, based on 2.7 million residents in Dallas County, that you have to look at some 50 pods to be able to facilitate people moving to get their medication. In our planning process, and that's one of the things we tried to explain several months ago, is that you always have to reevaluate your plans. We realize that right now we're looking at super pods in terms of maybe having 4 or 5 major pods as opposed to trying to stand up 50 pods. But the hat really goes off to those MRC volunteers who are physicians, who are nurses, who are everyday citizens, who came out to operate this pod. While we were there as the subject matter experts, they ran the clinic. And if you're gonna, whether you have 1 pod or 50 pods, it's gonna take those volunteers to stand up an operation. So I really wanna commend the Dallas County Health and Human Services staff, the Commissioner's Court for their faith in our department, and Commissioner Price for showing up early on Saturday morning and staying the whole time in terms of just looking at that, the injects that goes into that process. But I wanna say that we went through a pandemic, and that was H1N1. So I want to make sure we're real clear. We've already experienced one pandemic. And so Dallas County Health and Human Services is responding to these suspicious letters, as I pointed out before. And if any time those letters become to be a real issue, it will be our responsibility to bring that information forward to the judge, to the commissioners, to look at our options as it relates to providing medication to our residents. And so we have a staff that's intact, we have volunteers that are in place, and no one in America is able to, we saw that with Katrina, I want to be very clear, no one can stand up to deal with 2 million people at one time. So law enforcement, Dallas County Security, the Sheriff Department, DISD, had their police force out there, and their Homeland Security person was involved. So what you're looking at is a collaborative effort. And the next time we have one, we invite the Commissioner's Court to come down and just see our staff in action. And Commissioner Price brought out the fact that the State Health Department came down to film our mock exercise. That will be the first filming that's been done, I guess because we're the only one that has done one. So the point is that will be used to demonstrate to other health departments throughout the state. So I just wanted to thank you for that opportunity.
I have a question, Mr. Thompson. In the past, I remember the City of Dallas Homeland Security have done some of these, mock emergency situations, and I assisted one, and I was very impressed by it. But we are collaborating, as you say, with everyone. Is there any other aspect that we need to be looking into it?
I think one of the things that Commissioner Price brought up was the closed pods. That's an option while you look at the whole 2.5 million people in Dallas County. There is a large workforce in Dallas County, and we're charged to look at closed pods where companies who have physicians and nurses on staff will be able to provide those medications to their employees. That will cut down on the number of people who would need to come to the smaller pods. So those are the options we're moving forward. And so we will look for the court to assist us in facilitating that with our businesses. One business that was there on Saturday was Encore. They had mentioned that they've been in dialogue with us. And so that's an example of companies that are in Dallas County that we can work with to really address, especially if they got a large number of employees.
The real issues were Saturday, and again, the grant called for us to inject into the exercise challenges and everything from mobility, impaired individuals to the exhaustion of certain medications. In fact, they came along after a few hours or an hour and began to take medications out of the equation. And so then you got to adjust. And so then people here who are getting it for their neighbors. They're carrying packets for neighbors. They're carrying packets for family members. You got babies that cannot take certain products based on weight and size. So, I mean, it was a real thorough exercise, and I want to thank Jim Cummings from the city of Grand Prairie, who chairs that under public health. He chairs that. Yeah, right. He was an evaluator, but he also chairs it under public health. And so we just appreciate the fact that Dallas County seems to be on the leading edge of what's going on. I still don't think our citizens still understand when you see these white powder events, what possibly could happen if just one happens. And especially when you start talking about how we take hospitals and basically take those hospitals and silo them off and what across the path. It's a real challenge.
Well, the exercise really clearly showed the difference between where Homeland Security starts and where public health begins. So that exercise, you couldn't get any more explicit than that.
Right. And in the next exercise, we will continue to do it with different components.
We'll do it with different ISDs, it'll be a different scenario, but we'll be exercising throughout, because at any given day in the post 9/11, post Bin Laden, we have to be prepared.
And more importantly, we need to be prepared for all these kind of situations. So I'm very thankful to the department and everyone involved, including all the volunteers. I hear we have many of them. So, thank you, Mr. Thompson. And also, we got a letter from Mayor of Lancaster, Mayor Knight, I haven't seen lately, thanking the county for all our help during the April 3rd May run. Again, thank you, and thank to all the staff that and all the different services that helped during the event. So, I'm going to thank Mayor Knight and this evening. Thank you. And Judge, I also would like to have some comments on Court Order 41 and 42. And this is exciting news. I really think that sometimes, when we have the news, we really need to comment. And probably one of the greatest news in today's agenda is these two items. I know Commissioner Dickey is not here today, but Commissioner Cantrell and I, that are working now in these projects as well, are excited to see this. And this is the North Haven Trail Extension Phase 2. And I will ask Ms. Blair to put in the record, why we are so happy and why we're really ready to work on continuing to make Dallas County trails, one of the best parts of Dallas County.
Commissioner, these are two trails that are, again, trails that we consider multimodal facilities. We, of course, completed the Cottonwood Trail project, and now we're tying in North Haven Trail, especially as what the City of Dallas considers the Little Five connection, which would basically tie in North Haven, White Rock Creek Trail, also the Villa Way and Cottonwood. So that connection, of course, we're looking at trying to get that to construction around 2014 for that particular project. The other project is Phase 2, which will basically be the east-west connection that goes into from District, all the way from District 1 through District 2 to District 4. And basically will be the tie-in that will go all the way to the DART station and DART area along Denton Drive. So that one, we're going to be studying that one and looking at the alignment on that particular project and working with City of Dallas on that particular project. And also with Rick Lusberg and the open space team as well on trying to look at that particular scope on that project.
And I can appreciate, I know this alternative mode of transportation. Rick, how are we measuring this? How are we measuring these so-called alternative modes? I know what the design is. I know what the end game is. How are we measuring? How can I tell, how many people are really using trails as an alternative mode of transportation? Because that's part of the design of the MCAP. Vincent.
You raise a good question, and Alberta probably knows some information as well. I know there have been some informal traffic counts that COG has done. I know the City of Dallas has done that periodically along the Katy Trail. Some of the preliminary information that's come out of some of those has shown that, for instance, the Katy Trail at peak times carries more people than a lot of local residential streets and a lot of the dark bus lines. So the potential is incredibly there. And when you have situations like North Haven, which will provide probably the most predominant major east-west connection in the metropolitan area, and you connect that again with White Rock and Crescent Ridge and Cottonwood, and you have this north-south, east-west axis going, that opportunity, that potential is going to increase even further. I know there's been a number of other entities that have wanted to try to look at a little bit more in depth about what actual usership is, and that's something we're going to try to explore a little bit more.
Right. Well, and I just think we need to, because again, that's, and a lot of time, and I know we're not there, South yet, but as far as where the traffic is.
One thing that we're also doing in collaboration with these studies that we're coming up with is looking at the traffic situations on those particular. We're using our studies to look at those situations. Plus, we're also looking at economic development and the tie-ins around bases like Tying in the Dark, tying into major entities like TI, which we did with the Cottonwood Trail. So, and also we're looking at air quality. We're getting funding for these particular trails through COG and through other entities because of air quality issues, and those funds are available as we work closely with COG.
One of the other things, you brought up the economic development aspect, one of the things that sound like a classic economist is, what does the market show us? And what you're seeing is real estate listings along Crescent Ridge, Santa Fe, Katy Trail. They all say close proximity to, immediately adjacent to. You see residential communities along Katy and Santa Fe have changed their names. They'll now say, the condos at Lakewood Trail and the Katy Trail Ice House. And that is, that's dollars and cents proof that that's working.
I was in Katy Trail Ice House last night with my family, and my daughter and her friend were playing the corn pitch game. We were eating. It was relatively early, little 6-year-old kid dinner, and it was filled. We were about part of the oldest folks there. It was young people who live in uptown. We looked directly behind the Katy Trail Ice House at the large high-end Gables community that's coming online. We're going to get all those taxes. And now in this position, whenever I see a lot of people, eating and socializing, I think about sales tax, property tax, all those sorts of things.
They're changing that.
Yeah, if you look around Ruth Street where that is, it's an explosion of high-end apartment buildings back up to that trail and that restaurant. So that kind of shows the power of that. I'm excited about Alberta's vision and your vision on this because of what we are seeing in retail. I know what they call it's a commercial real estate group that I visit with and had them the real estate council. They're super excited about trails because they see the opportunity for this development for more family and young people development along these trails. And we know that these young people that are moving here, these postgraduate young people, particularly ones that are moving into uptown, they're our second highest per capita group. They are tremendous spenders. They are tremendous, whatever you want to call it, givers to our tax base. They want to move into these high-income or high-expense apartments that are driving our recovery. So we can find a way with these trails to draw them here and keep them here and keep them moving to Frisco now when they have that first child. That's really going to be a big chunk of how we build up our tax base. It's not the total answer. It's a small thing. I think, like for instance, Inland Port, getting that water line down there, Loop 9, those are bigger things. But it's a key component, I think, how we turn around the economy here in Dallas County. So
I want to add something. It's the small things that brings the big things, Judge. If you look at what's going on in another part, North Dallas have complained for a long time. They didn't have enough green space. They didn't have enough trails. What is going on here is the reason this is so exciting is we have gone north to south for a long time. This time we're going east to west, and this is, when it's done, we'll be able to connect all the way from South Oak Cliff, because Commissioner Price and I are ready to do that peaceful trail, right, Commissioner?
Yeah.
And connect it all the way north. Josh, yeah, he's going to do it with me. Not at 5 o'clock in the morning, Commissioner, okay? We're going to be able, you're making me lose my concentration. We can do the whole thing all the way from south, from, the heart of the southern sector, all the way around to downtown Dallas. If everything goes as planned, we can connect almost in a circle all the way to West Dallas. And that is exciting news. So, and if you look at, the revenue, as the judge says, and all the investment that we can attract into the southern sector by doing I don't like to call them little things, because this is the best kept secret that Dallas County has. And these are matching funds and working with municipalities to make this investment of almost 35% increased property values whenever trails are there. Not to mention that people tend to live healthier lifestyles when they live close to the lake. How am I going to be watching people walking and running when I can be one of them? Right with my tennis shoes and going. And the judge was the oldest person yesterday at the Katy Trail, I can imagine that. But with that being said, he went there to check it out, right? And have a kids lunch at the ISA, or I don't know how that works, but hey, he's going and he's checking it out, so.
Well, I can appreciate all of that, and Keith, it's going to be a little different. When you get a Mark Cuban or a developer like that comes in and around the area, that's different. How many of those are we going to get? That's number one. Number two, as Ken Nolan gets ready to make his presentation, and I'm looking at commercial values averaging $1,123,000 average commercial value. I'm looking at residential in Dallas County at about $154,000. I'm looking at 48% of the population of Dallas County below I-30 with only 15% of the value. And all of that sounds well, but we still run the same problem we've had all along. And I had that with not this court, but prior court. We still lag woefully behind in terms of development and sponsors in the southern sector, and primarily because of basic infrastructure. That's not the problem in North Dallas or north of 30. You don't have that problem. So you can put in a trail and you can put in a Mockingbird station, but it's going to be extremely challenging. I'm talking about within the corporate city limits going south. We still have basic infrastructure problems. And so it's a real challenge. And so while I applaud my colleagues, I don't have the same anointment. I never will have a luxury for a trail. Richard's done a fantastic job, and I've got some people on there who are very excited about it.
Yes, we have. For the first time in a long time when it comes to that.
Right. But I just want this court to be cognizant, and I don't know if y'all saw the email I sent to you with regards to the potential, I know last week was the closeout of CBDG, but regards to just basic water storage. You talk about the $18 million we might need for a line, let's talk about water storage. These are basic that Dallas doesn't have to worry about. So anyway.
But we have to start somewhere, and this is it.
They always start over.
No, they have been matching. We have had people that have taken some of these projects at home. And that's what we need to create and design in the southern sector, so we get some of the investors, like we say, and council members, and power to come and put the money in the matches. None of this happens without the matching funds.
Well, and these things are interrelated. To the extent that Commissioner Price is saying basic infrastructure in south of 30 is more important than trails, I 100% agree. But I think we can do both. I think you're seeing that in this grand bargain that we have with the state, where we've tied down now $50 million to the Loop 9 project, which is, I think, the biggest opportunity for Southern Dallas to increase the capabilities have been important, and probably the biggest opportunity for all of Dallas to raise our tax base. But in doing that, we've worked on some 4A4B reforms through RTC. And in doing that, one of the trade-offs for the 4A4B reforms that will be announced next month at RTC is $7 million additional dollars from the city of Dallas to trails that work with the county of Dallas. So we continue to work on these things. It's not an either-or thing. It's kind of a holistic look at what is going to drive economic development in different parts of the county. And this low 5, because of the connectivity, I think will drive that in an important part of the It's not my top priority, but I think it's a strong priority.
And more importantly, we are making it a priority for the municipalities to look into this. They know the opportunities there. I know that when I send a letter to the Dallas City Council at the beginning of the year saying, hey, by the way, guys, don't forget, we have a trail system that you can be part of. A lot of them call me, and during the budget discussions, this has come up. How much money will they be able to put in the Dallas Home package to see how much they can work with us. And that is exciting news because I had the honor of representing the city of Dallas at the council for 8 years. And very few times the town came up in a discussion about aid trail. So just the fact that our colleagues at Dallas City Hall are talking about this and thinking about putting money into this, I think it's a great opportunity for us and great news for Dallas County as a whole. Thank you, Mr. Losberg. Thank you. I'm excited. Thank you.
I think Mr. Knoll doesn't need any more introduction than that, so with that, we have Ken Knoll come up. Good luck.
Judge, Commissioner.
Hopefully we didn't put you on the spot, too.
No, never. First of all, let me say that for the last 31 years, we had the continued support of the commissioners in Dallas County, and without that, we wouldn't be as successful as we are today. So I just want to express my appreciation. And I also want to recognize Mr. Warren and Mr. Ames, who are on our board, and they give us great guidance and great support as well.
So does that mean you've been in 31 years?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
So, thanks for your service.
All right.
If that doesn't work, we can push it on the computer here.
Okay. As you know, we have 3 main property types we have to deal with every year: residential, commercial, and business personal property. I'm going to cover.
Watch your breath.
Thanks. I'll cover each one of them, what we've done this year, what things look like, and then lastly, I'll go over where we just released our preliminary values last Thursday to the entities to talk about where we are so far. Residential this year, we initially targeted about 260,000 accounts. We ended up doing about 232,000 as of April, and because that's all we needed to do was 232,200. We do all mobile homes every year. New construction is still way down. We had 2,572 new construction permits total in Dallas County, and about 22,632 miscellaneous permits, pools, remodels, things of that nature that we have to look at. And again, this is considerably down from, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago. It's getting better, but it's not where we were, let's say, in 06 and 07.
And the majority of them were any different than what I said earlier?
No. You can see in that chart, which I believe is in your packet as well, how that spread out around the county. And as I told you before, and as I told everyone else, the reason I use this map is just an illustration of we work all over the county every year. We don't do a geographic reappraisal when it comes to residential. We work where we need to work when values are either too low or too high. And as you can see, the red neighborhoods, we virtually cover the whole county every year. What do we know? As I said, new construction starts are still down from where they were. Foreclosures are still a factor when we do reappraisal. We're now required by law, since the last legislative session, to absolutely consider foreclosures when we do our reappraisal. Now, I will tell you, In Dallas County, we've always done that. There are many areas where foreclosures become the market because they're the dominant transaction that takes place. Now, I will tell you, there's less of those areas now than there was last year and the year before. It's getting a little bit better, but they're still out there and we still have to consider them. Northern sector, southern sector, across the board, flat to down is what we found. Very little areas where there was an increase in value, a little bit in the northwestern part of the county, Coppell, areas like that. Not a whole lot of sales going on. There's just not a lot of transactions in the residential market going on. Part of that has to do with financing is still hard to get. People can't get money to buy homes. There's not going to be a lot of sales. Now, when I get to commercial, that has had an effect on the commercial market, especially the multifamily market. Commercial, we do a little bit different. We do about 1/3 of all our market areas every year, about 1/3 of our land areas. We look at all major property types every year, office, retail, industrial, and apartments. And there's certain parts of the county, LBJ, the Central Business District, Las Colinas, the Tollway, we look at every single year. Now also, as I also tell everyone, commercial properties are mostly represented by professional consultants, so we'll end up talking about all of them every single year. Building permits, again, down on commercial, we only had 386 new construction permits. Now, some of them are quite large, but again, it's getting a little bit better, and about 3,600 miscellaneous permits. That's how that shook out. As I said, we had 71,000 accounts total. We looked at about 33,000 of them, but at the end of the day, we'll end up talking about all of them. And that's just an illustration of where we're working. Again, it's pretty much all over the county. Now, what do we know? Rents and occupancies are flat to down, but cap rates have come down about 100 to 200 basis points. So if you have a property that has the same financial performance from the year before, yet the cap rate comes down 100 or 200 basis points, that's an increase in value, especially on Class A and Class B properties. We have positive signs for Class A and Class B apartments. As I said, with lending being difficult to get mortgages, apartments are red hot right now. As the judge mentioned at Uptown, the Gables properties, and there's a reason those are being built today, because there's demand. Rents are going up, there's lots of new construction in apartments, so values are going up. Hotel revenues were up 10% last year. That's a good sign for hotel valuation. Warehouse absorption rates have shown some positive signs as well. Retail is still kind of spotty. It just depends on who you have for tenants and where your retail center is located. Some are doing very well. Some maybe around the block have lost a couple of large big box tenants. They're having trouble filling those up. So it's just, you never really know what you're going to find with retail. As I said, there's still a continued decline in new construction with the exception of apartments. Multifamily, there's an increase. There's still uncertainty. Banks are still slow to foreclose on property, which is good. They don't want the property back. They're willing to work with the lenders. That's a good thing. We still, every year, we kind of anticipate what might happen. And over the last 3 or 4 years, that still hasn't happened. So that's still good for the market.
Well, it's good for the market, but that reservoir is still out there and it's lingering.
Yeah, on the residential side, I would agree. On the commercial side, what's happening now with values starting to increase, and again, Class A and Class B, what will happen if things continue to go well, that'll start trickling down to Class B buildings, Class C buildings, because the top tier of property will get priced out of the market. Investors will start moving down the food chain, which is a good thing. And we had, again, commercial financing is still an issue. There's large equity required to get a commercial loan, just like on residential. So that's slowed some people down, but there are a lot of people sitting on the sidelines with a lot of cash right now, and hopefully they're going to start putting that back into the market. I think a lot of people come to the conclusion the market may have hit bottom. Now is the time to get in, and when they get in, things are going to start going back up. We've seen some sales of some large commercial properties in Dallas County for some pretty high prices, which is a good thing. And again, it's Class A properties.
How do the commercial values that I articulated earlier and the residential values compare, let's say, a few years ago? Because you got about $1 million, 1, 2, 3.
They're down. I mean, I know countywide at one time we were over $220 billion in value. I think our preliminary numbers, which I'll show you in a minute, are up back to about 210 or 212. So we're coming back. But we reached a high, I think, in either 07 or 08 of over 220 billion countywide. It went down to about 202 billion. We lost about 20 billion over a 3 or 4 year period of time. But it's starting to come back. Personal property, we do all personal property every single year, just by the nature of the property inventory. It changes, fixtures change every year. So we have about 70,000 regular accounts, 7,000 tenant accounts. We have some leased equipment, aircraft, and some other specialized types of property that we have to look at. As you know, you're required to file a rendition with us every year. We typically get about 60,000 renditions every year. We also have to deal with some Freeport exemptions, which are on the increase. More and more people are inquiring about Freeport, which means there must be more inventory in town, which is a good thing as well. And we have a limited number of pollution control exemptions we have to deal with. As I said, we have about 90,000 personal property accounts. The chart shows you how they're spread around the county, and we look at every single one of them every year. Business personal property has been fairly stable. Last year, it actually went up about 0.9%. If large businesses, when the economy starts turning around, large businesses like a Texas Instruments, for example, will start making capital investment again, and values will go up. The last couple of years, we haven't seen a whole lot of investment. Texas Instruments, in some years, we've made $750 million investment in 1 year. We haven't seen that lately. Some things are starting to happen though. There's a big market now for data centers. A lot of people are bringing their equipment to Dallas County. There's a large data center in Richardson. There's a few others, so that's a good thing. Tenants are going to bring in their computer equipment. That all gets taxed and put on the roll, so it's a good thing. And again, as we tell every taxing jurisdiction in Dallas County, if you have a large business that's coming in, your personal property roll is going to go up. Conversely, if you have a large business that leaves, it's going to go down. And lots of times that's beyond the control of Dallas County. Large national companies will make decisions that will cause people to either leave here along with everywhere else. And it's not as related to the local conditions as real estate is. After we got done, we had total 73,000 accounts went up, 207,000 went down, 533,000 had no change for a total of 814. You can see only about 9% had value increases. Now commercial was a little bit higher, about 12% of the properties went up, and in personal property, 34% of them went up. The values were released Friday. Preliminary values indicated this, that the total market value of Dallas County had gone up 4.76%. As I said, residential was flat to down in most places. Countywide, it was down 0.42%. However, commercial properties were up over 10.5% over last year, and personal property was up almost 7.5%. City of Dallas, they were up total 5.7%, and DISD was up 6.22%. I'll emphasize, those are the preliminary numbers. They will change between now and when we're done in the summer, based on how many people protest.
And you basically have anticipated, given the trend that will probably be in the neighborhood of.
I think worst, as we told everybody in the spring, absolute worst case scenario would be absolutely flat. I think it's going to be slightly up this year. I don't think we're going to lose value like we have the last 2 years. And it's all going to be on commercial properties. Now, I will tell you that will probably result in more litigation for us, because whenever we reappraise commercial property, we get more litigation. But I think at the end of the day, in July, the roll will actually be slightly up.
So if you know what Ryan's projection is, do you disagree with that, or rosier?
I would agree with anything Ryan told me. That's why I've been here 31 years. I think he's very safe. He's very conservative. Very conservative. I tell everybody, be conservative as possible in terms of those numbers, and if it's better than that, then it's a good year. We send out notices starting at the 1st of May. Any new owners got notices? Anybody who had a value increase? Any new accounts added to the roll? Anywhere where the capped homestead value change got a notice? Anybody who rendered, all authorized tax consultants, and all business personal property accounts. We also make available on our website a PDF copy of an appraisal notice for every single piece of property. So if someone didn't get a notice because their value didn't go up, they can still go to the website and see a notice. We legally mail the ones we have to. And that resulted in 107,000 notices being mailed for residential, almost 27,000 for commercial, 79,000 business personal property notices, and about 2,500 for exemption, agricultural, and various other properties. About 216,000 notices were down, almost 12,000 from last last year at $228,000. As I said, our first mailing date was on April 27th. The protest deadline for that is coming up next week. That's May 31st. We did a second mailing for business personal property on May 15th. That deadline is June 14th. And our third mailing on May 22nd for utilities, special valuation, leased equipment. And that protest deadline is June 21st. You received your first preliminary values last Thursday on May 17th. They're available every single day online for every taxing jurisdiction. So there should be no surprises at the end of the day. Our hearings, we're going to begin on May 16th. We're now going to begin on May 23rd. Things are a little slow. We only have about 15,000 protests right now. That's a good thing. The preliminary appraisal roll, the county will receive that on June 1st so they can make sure everything works, test out the file, make sure there's no problems. Our hearings are projected to end on July 18th, and we will certify the roll on July 23rd, 2 days before the legal deadline of July 25th.
Continue to talk about that, what happened with regards to bank reconciliation, with regards to foreclosure.
As I said, we've seen less foreclosures than we had the last couple of years. We made a big effort in 2009 on the residential side to adjust the values accordingly. We've lowered probably in the last 3 years about 600,000 pieces of property. Now some of them have been lowered more than once. It's about 200,000 a year we've lowered. On residential, they keep talking, you hear stories in Washington about, they're going to start calling this property in and start foreclosing on it. No one, we don't know, I don't think anyone knows what that potential is. Maybe the banks know what the potential of that is in Dallas County. We don't know people's particular circumstances as far as the mortgage. Someone could be 2 years in arrears, we wouldn't know it until something actually happens. Commercial property, everybody seems to feel a little bit better about it as days go by, the last, I'll say 6 to 8 months, everybody starts feeling more and more confident about the commercial values in Dallas County. We didn't overbuild like we did back in the 80s. We don't have that problem. There's actually, as I said, a demand for multifamily now. As the judge talked about, these areas like Uptown and Katy Trail, they're building large multifamily, luxury multifamily complexes. There's one right across from the arena over here, which is about, I forget how many units I read the other day. And there's a reason they're doing that. If they didn't think it was going to be successful, they probably wouldn't be building those. Things are getting better.
Well, as always, thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
I think, Judge Secretary, thank you for your service all these years, and I want to thank our board appointees.
Yes, we truly appreciate the support the county's given us. Mr. Cantrell was on our board a while ago. I won't say a long time ago, a while ago. Yeah. And we appreciate the support.
There's something about him being on your board that causes us not to be able to put nobody else on your board.
Mr. Nolan, can I have the presentation?
Yes,
Can
absolutely.
I get an email?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like it.
Absolutely.
Ken, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan.
Do you have it, Mr. Nolan? the presentation?
Yes, I'll give you a copy. Electronic copy. Item 2, Health and Human Services. Recommend approval of MOU with Parkland Health and Hospital System for services to address Dallas County's infant mortality rates. Item 3, Human Resources Civil Services. Recommend approval of the amendment to Quarter Order 2011-1595, allowing non-smoking employees to access discounted rates for non-smokers on a one-time basis. Item 4, that quarter was on your formal agenda. Item 5, that quarter was on your formal agenda. Item 6, Public Works. Recommend approval of the master agreement for MCIP for Pleasant Valley Road from Richfield Drive to Miles Road with the city of Garland. Item B, that quarter was on your formal agenda. Item C, that quarter was on your formal agenda. Item 7, operation, that was pulled. We'll be coming back with that next week. Item 8, budget. 8A, you have your cops travel training requests. 8B, you have your hiring freeze accepted in the county clerk. JP12, operation services, public defender, and the criminal justice department. Item C, recommend approval of the interlocal agreement with NTTA for implementation procedures for SB 469.
Item D, that quarters of the formal agenda, and item 1, I'd like to pull item 5 under miscellaneous. And if there are no other questions, Judge, that concludes the briefing agenda, and I believe you have 2 speakers listed.
All Commissioner Court attendees are hereby advised that this meeting is conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Dallas County Code, Section 74-71. Visitors and registered speakers are to preserve order and decorum at all times. Personal, profane, or slanderous remarks are not appropriate and will not be allowed at any time during this public meeting. Any and all clauses is kept brief and observance of time constraints. Instructed visitors and/or registered speakers may be removed and are subject to penalties provided in the state of Texas Penal Code Sections 38.13, 42.01, and 42.05. Registered individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and the maximum discussion of any one topic is limited to 30 minutes.
All right, and our first speaker today is Ms. Sandra Crenshaw. Ms. Crenshaw, will you please come forward? And Ms. Crenshaw, if you wouldn't mind stating your name and address, and we'll hear the beep, and when you hear the second series of beeps, just finish your thought. Thanks for coming today.
When I hear the second,
Well,
is there a time?
yeah, there's a time limit.
No, a timer. That's
Yeah.
visible to us.
Oh, is it? I don't believe so. No, it's 3 minutes.
No, we have it.
Yeah. If you want me to give you like a 1 minute warning or something? Okay, did you do that? All right. So, yes, ma'am.
All right. My name is Sandra Crenshaw, and I reside in Commissioner District 3, John Moore Price line, Commissioner. Less than a month ago, the nation reflected on the African-American and Korean relationships on the 20th anniversary of the LA riots. A Korean journalist said that the riots happened because justice did not. In Dallas, Texas, Dallas County, African Americans have led a protest against a Diamond Shamrock gas station and beer and wine store that is designated and governed by the civil rights of the Department of Justice as a public accommodation, and a beer and wine convenience store that's governed by state and local mandatory laws. With the purpose of, these laws have the purpose of, to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Dallas County and the city of Dallas by reducing the occurrence of crime, preventing the escalation of crime, and increasing the successful prosecution of crime that occurs in these convenience stores. Brother Jeffrey Muhammad has no more power to investigate, indict, prosecute, or convict the owner than the Right Reverend Donald and Ronald Wright have to exonerate the owner on a public apology. But you do, Judge Jenkins. More than a month ago, I appealed to all of the government officials to use the power that the voters invested in you to investigate the crimes of my people. I used the voice of law through the Public Information Act and found that those allegations of illegal gambling machines seized, beating patrons for complaining, violations of all of the city's mandatory laws, and these are offenses. And yet I have no evidence that he has ever been cited. If I get caught without a driver's license or without my seatbelt, I get cited $275. I can use my driver's license for repeated DWI offenses. And if you were to investigate all of these offenses, then how would this place still continue to operate? Now, I ask you to investigate these. I have no evidence that you have done that. So before you holler for the next speaker, I want to know one question. What you gonna do, Judge Jenkins? What you gonna do? What powers do you have in this? You have investigated prosecutorial powers in Dallas County. If no more than pick up the phone and call Chief Brown, you've got the power to do that. Call Chief Brown and confirm that these people have been in violations of the law, and yet they are continuing to do that. I used my power to file a complaint with the Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission, and they said they have found that they did violate all of these, but they have no more power than to sanction them for administrative violations. We want you to use whatever power you have. What power do you have to look into this?
All right, thank you, Ms. Crenshaw.
Will you be able to answer that today, sir? What power do you have? I asked you more than a month ago to research it.
Ms.
More than a
Crenshaw,
month ago.
I'll take your comments under advisement, thank you.
No, I was asking, what power, do you know what power you have to investigate, and will you investigate and look into the cries of our people,
Ms.
your
Crenshaw,
Dallas County voters?
your time is up. I'm going to ask you to please take your seat.
I did already a month ago. I contacted this office more than a month ago, and I haven't heard anything. Oh, by the way, Mr. Carpenter that was beat and Mason beat and left unconscious is here in the audience today. Will there be justice for Mr. Carpenter?
Ms. Crenshaw, please, thank you
I
for
will,
your,
sir.
for your speech. Please take your
Call for
seat.
the next speaker.
Mr. Robert Ciccarelli, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Robert Ciccarelli, 2218 Hardwood Drive. I've been a county client for the past year at the Salvation Army, second floor, housing. I finally got my housing through LifeNet. It's been about a year since I got my housing. It's a very good program. However, there's two things I would like to see if you can help transcend as far as a more proper transition. One is when you leave the program, you can't work at all when you're in the program. So when you leave, you go to housing, money the biggest transportation. Okay? Right now, I have this pass for about 5 more days. And after that, if I'm not able to get any transportation or bus passes, I would have to leave the house because I cannot stay there without any transportation. Second one is if you go for disability and you get denied, you have to leave the county. So you'll be homeless and without transportation. So in my predicament, I have a big problem with 2 projects I'm working on right now, education and homelessness in Dallas. Right now, I put a major dent in Lincoln High School as far as their curriculum next year, as far as their tutoring after each class. I was doing this because I couldn't work. The second project I'm working with the homeless to try to get transitional housing before you get permanent supported housing. Without the county, I would probably be in jail because I could not take being homeless. Homeless is a very devastating disease. I mean disease because it's progressive. So what I'm asking for today is, I'm going to go to different circuits, but is anyway, since I was a client, and I might have to go to work because I was denied disability because my lawyer was sick. I have to wait about 6 more months, 3 or 4 months. Without any transportation, I probably have to go be homeless again because I can't stay at the house. So I'm asking if any way you can help me or other clients in the future with helping to transcend or to go to one from the county to housing in an easier way. Because it's a big, big shock when you have to go to the house and you have no help at all. They do it at the county, you get bus passes. Now we don't get any. Only bus pass I get now is through LifeNet for medical reasons only. So it's a big issue which I hope that you can help us, me and other clients at the county of the Salvation Army. And I'm asking you today, please, to try to help me, if you can, with a monthly bus pass or 2 monthly bus passes so I can find work. If I can't find any transportation, I cannot work because I might have to lose my disability because it's too far down the road. And please look out for the other clients at the Salvation Army with housing. It took me a year. They're your clients, and please, they should have priority over housing over anybody else. Thank you very much.
Well, just for purposes, just the record, Chapter 2 of the Financial Assistance Program of the Dallas County Public Human Services, 2137, talks about transportation. I know I can't talk to him, I'm talking to the record. It talks about transportation, and we do have that transportation available for our clients with regards to both employment, appointments, transportation services. And there's a reason that there is a difference between what happens with our clients and another provider such as LifeNet. So we do continue to service our clients, but once they go to another provider, that's different.
And I just, I know I haven't talked to Mr. Secretary yet, but even when my office has contacted him, and that was explained to him, the ones that they're not members of Dallas County Services. Now, I do know, for the record, that LifeNet has some of those vouchers for transportation. I don't know if they're still getting them, but I will start looking there and give this to, I don't know if the Salvation Army does them as well, but sadly, once they're not our clients anymore, there's nothing we can do to help. So,
Mr. Ciccarelli, I would suggest you contact LifeNet and see if they have those vouchers. See if they can provide you with a voucher. You understand what they're saying? Since you're not a client
Right.
of Dallas County.
Are you able to call also,
No,
sir?
you can't. Excuse me,
Okay.
excuse me.
I don't do medical. I'll try one casework to say medical.
And that is our last speaker. So the court's now reconvening in public session, recess for our closed session, authorized by 5:51 of the government.